Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 27th of October, 2021. Coming up this episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast, episode 154, the new Cabinet Shuffle 2021. Is it progressive or regressive? I don't know. You tell me. This is also brought to you by the Ministry of Incontinence and Flatulence, by Miss Breezy Stream, and the Ministry of Fellatio, brought to you by the MP Auréal Fixation. All that and more. Come at the podcast, please. Stick around. Oh, yeah. Listener and viewer discretion is advised. Stay tuned.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This episode is the Cabinet Shuffle 2021, progressive or regressive, episode 154, Crusty Canuck podcast. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. And once again, I want to say thank you to everyone who's come out to my last episode and give me a positive thumbs up and all that good stuff. And if you like and hear what you see, please click like, subscribe, and share this all around your social media platforms. Help us independent guys speak our minds and get the words out there while we still can in this beautiful democracy we still call Canada. Yes, the Cabinet Shuffle just recently happened the past couple of days. A lot of speculation in mainstream media and CTV, CBC, Global, and all that about key positions here, key positions there. And really, from my point of view, and this is all this episode is going to be, just a point of view. I'm not going to give tons and tons of articles. I will back up stuff in my description as always, but needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, it's just another poop show. Another poop show that comes to you at the expense of Canadian taxpayers and virtue signatures alike. Yes, exactly. That's all it is. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, I sat with my wife there yesterday and we were watching the whole Cabinet Shuffle, kind of like the Curly Shuffle, that song from the 80s, the dedication to the Three Stooges, mind you. You know, yuck, 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 yuck. The Cabinet Shuffle. And that's all it was. Okay. Now, I personally don't care who's men, who's women, who represents this, represents that. I'm always been a firm believer in who does the job to the best of their ability, who can represent the people to the best of their ability, who has the qualifications to represent the people to the best of their ability based on the situation, the job they're in. Now, I'm going to start with the Minister of Defense, Mr. Harjit Sajjan. The past 6 years was the Minister of National Defense of this country. Okay. He had experience being a soldier, spent some time in Afghanistan. Okay. As a reservist, as a reserve officer. Okay. And he handled the whole procurement issue as a hot potato when it came to replacing our fighter jets. You've heard me ramble on before in the past couple of years in regards to how he okayed the purchase of old F-18s to replace our older F-18s or vice versa for the sake of parts and longevity rather than actually investing in proper aircraft like our Air Force properly. Same with the Navy. You know, different stories in the Navy going back and forth. You know, one of the admirals being in trouble because he thought of a better idea to save the Canadian taxpayer money when it became a contract issue with Irving. Just ridiculous things. And he was the first one to scream racism or scream bigotry when someone questioned his integrity. So, okay, it's a good thing that we have this individual not looking after the welfare of our troops anymore. But in the same sense, bring in Miss Anita Arnand, the procurement genius, apparently, over the past year when it came to getting the vaccines to Canadians in record time. Okay, so yeah, I would agree she has qualifications when it comes to logistics and procurement. Okay, but our military needs a hell of a lot more than just somebody with the idea of procurement. Okay, just because she can get record vaccines in record time, it doesn't mean she's going to get the ships built or the aircraft built or keep the longevity of our actual army together in the long run. Okay. Now, you've heard me ramble on too about the sexual allegations in regards to what's happened to some of our female soldiers over the past, I guess, 20 years. That's been brought to surface. And I, for one, stand with those soldiers for the simple reason that nobody should be harassed, whether it be emotionally, physically, or sexually, in any job. Okay. I have worked with and I have worked for some exceptional women in today's military, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, they deserve to be treated just the same as what you and I do on a daily basis. Okay. I have worked with women that have kicked ass, taken names because they merited. I have worked for women who have kicked ass and taken names because they merited. Okay. Now, there are a few stories in the woodwork and some people that I know, people I've served with, and we have personally witnessed a few individuals get ahead for the sake of gender and or identity. But I'll leave that for another episode. But let's talk about the brass tacks of the sexual misconduct that's happened in our military recently. Okay. Which leads back to the senior officials. Now, I believe Mr. Harjit Sajjan did a terrible job. I believe some of the brass did a terrible effing job too. I also believe that our government, the sitting government, the elected officials have done the utmost terrible job, right? By looking after it. Okay. Do I think Miss Anita Arnond has what it takes to sort the issues out? Maybe. I don't know. It all depends who she's working for. Okay. Because you look at the defense procurement in this country, it's always been based on the party in charge. It's never been based on the know-how and the can-do attitude that our history has proven to us time and time again. It's always based on who's sitting on the kitty, who's calling the shots, who's writing the checks, and who gets the contracts to make such wonderful kit for our men and women in the Navy, Air Force, and Army alike. So we'll see. I personally believe that she was picked just because she's a female, regardless of her religious background or not. Okay. And we've all seen how this virtue-toting, teetotaling ideologues constantly are trying to make the optics look more sufficient and efficient when it's really the foundation of things that make things efficient and sufficient. Okay. When you buy a house, you could have all the blue paint you want, all the great windows, all the energy efficiency, all the common courtesies and the comforts that you desire. But without the foundation, okay, ladies and gentlemen, without the foundation of any kind of home or unit or conglomerate, what have you got? Without a solid foundation making things work, without a solid foundation that keeps things together, you could have all the blue paint, all the energy efficient windows, all the great light, all the great creature comforts. But that foundation is cracked. What have you got? You got one hell of an expensive mess. And according to our government, the expensive mess is coming from you and me and other taxpayers alike once again.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Cabinet Shuffle 2021, progress or regress. Now, I'm all for progress. I'm all for giving people the jobs that they deserve, people that they merit for, okay? But when I look at this Cabinet Shuffle, okay, this big Cabinet Shuffle, making such a big deal how they were sworn in and all this good stuff, it's just been nothing but a real poop show. What else can you say? Okay, now, the Minister of Foreign Affairs has changed hands, 6 times in the past 6 years. Okay. Mr. Mark Garneau, ex-astronaut, lifetime politician, lifetime liberal, lifetime moron, might have a cushy job in Europe someplace or might not. He was just dismissed out of cabinet. Okay. Now, this is all speculation, ladies and gentlemen. It's just my point of view on the whole shuffle. You've heard me ramble on so many times about the Liberal government in this country. And I'm not going to insult your intelligence, but I think you and I can both agree that this is nothing but a real poop show when it comes to the virtue. It's all optics. It's all aesthetics. Let's make it look pretty and progressive, and therefore people get off our backs. Well, sorry, I'm going to ride your back for a very, very long time. Right? I'm going to make sure and criticize every one of your abilities thoroughly and firmly. I'm going to bloody make sure that you guys are accountable for what you do. Now, they talk about jobs and boosting the economy, a more green economy, okay? Now that I've rambled about Miss Anand and her great logistics background, I hope to God she thinks about defense of this country rather than defense of her ego or defense of the optics. Because enough of the optics. Let's get the show on the go, shall we? Okay, now they put Mr. Stephen Gilbert, Mr. Hello Censorship, Mr. Hello, let's bring in Bill C-10 and Bill C-36 to stop online hatred. Now he's the environment minister, right? Now, I'll leave a link from True North Media in regards to what he did back in 2001, climbing the CN Tower, protesting the climate or lack of climate activism that was being done by Prime Minister Jean Chrétien at the time and George W. Bush from our friends to the south in the United States. Now, I'm all for people that want to protest what they disagree with, what they don't like. That is our given rights in this country to protest things you don't like. That's fine. Okay. But here's a guy who put his life on the line to climb the CN Tower by using board equipment, whatever, and received some subtle fanfare for his efforts, what have you. Okay. Now he's the environment minister in this country 20 years later. Okay. Him, Catherine McKenna, John Wilkinson, all these other people that have sat around and scratched their balls and scratched their tickles, their taints and everything, dooka, all that good stuff, telling you and me what to do with our gas and oil. More or less saying gas and oil is bad from Canada, but as long as we get it from Saudi Arabia at $10 or $12 a barrel, everything's just Jim fucking dandy. Wrong. Okay. Now, here's a guy who wanted to censor what you and I have to say or what you and I get to read, what you and I get to do online. Here's a guy who pushed this legislation as the heritage minister, okay, in the name of safety and non-hate speech. Now he's going to turn around and look after the environment of this country, okay? He's probably going to do the same job as what Catherine McKenna did, okay, by going fishing in high-heel boots in the Northwest Territories, by riding a bicycle with high-heel shoes on, okay, doing poses, spending money on photography, and looking at, trying to be progressive. And I bet you there's going to be a lot of our Canadian currency gone elsewhere for foreign investments. Okay, so we'll wait and see. Do I think Mr. Gerbera is qualified to look at the environment in this country? No, I don't think so. I think Dr. Patrick Moore would be a little more qualified to look after the environment in this country because he was one of the founding members of Greenpeace. Okay, and he's an actual ecologist. He's actually studied this in school. Okay. He's seen the pros and cons of fossil fuels. He's seen the pros and cons of overhunting. He's seen the pros and cons of the changes in our weather system here. And he's a firm believer that carbon tax will not save the day, really. So you give an extra $40 a tank of gas, an extra $80 a month for your home heating, throw in an extra few $100 for groceries every month because you're saving the planet from cow parts. Oh, my goodness. He'll tell you the other way. He'll tell you that the government cannot control the weather. They can't, right? They just want to control your pocketbooks. Now, another shuffle is Mr. John Wilkinson. You've heard me talk about him before. He's got connections in biomass, the biomass industry in this country, which basically is just the same as burning things. It has nothing to do with saving the trees. You're burning dead trees. You're burning dead things. That's fine. But you're still burning things and you're still polluting the atmosphere. All right. You're still polluting the atmosphere when it comes to burning. And you have to accumulate more and more biomass compared to, let's say, whatever coal or whatever fossil fuels you need to burn to run plants or to run factories or anything for that matter. Okay. Now, it's a great idea to pick up deadfall and clean up certain messes, but you're still burning. You're still burning things en masse. Hence the term biomass, right? Do I think Mr. Wilkinson is a good fit for being the natural resources minister of this country? No. Because he has his own corporate interests. And every time I watch this man speak, I wanted to puke because his sheer arrogance and just the way he talks down to people drives me fucking nuts. Okay? Now, I don't care where he's from. I don't care what connections he has in the business. Okay? This country needs fossil fuels. It doesn't matter where you come from. Doesn't matter what part of the country you live in. It doesn't matter if you live in Nunavut or if you live in Point Pelee or Vancouver Island or in Labrador. Okay? It doesn't matter. And after watching that poop show of that whole cabinet shuffle and then seeing them all sit together with a photograph, all with masks on, all with their mask on, like this, it's kind of like 1984. You know what I mean? Do as we say, not as we do. Big Brother is watching you. I hope you come out for the barbecue later in the photo op. That's all I get from that, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Now, I've been working at my new job the past week now, and just let me say, it's very humbling. It's very humbling to know that I'm working my ass off to get better income. And I know I've asked you, my listeners and viewers out there, like to please contribute and to get things on the go to help me make this a full-time commitment. And I'll do what I can. Yeah, I would still like to make this a full-time commitment, ladies and gentlemen, but I need viewers like you and my listeners such as yourselves. You find people out there to make it happen. Right. And I'll get to that in a bit more later. But just carrying on with more of this cabinet shuffle BS too. Okay. So we got Wilkinson, a staunch environmentalist, or so he says. I would say it's more protecting his corporate environmentalism rather than actual down-to-earth, pure environmentalism when it comes to, let's say, what you and me do when it comes to looking at the environment. Okay. We don't throw our garbage on our front lawn. We don't throw it in someone else's front lawn. We dispose of our garbage properly. We recycle when we have to, when we should, or when we can. We try to be conservative, not politically, but conservative when it comes to what we purchase, what we put in our bodies, what we consume. Okay, common sense politics, blue collar basics yet again. And yet some of these clowns still fail to grasp that real knowledge, right? It's all about making money to them. It's not about looking after you or me. It's not about doing the right thing. You know, it's not about doing the right thing about the troops that have been sexually harassed. It's not about doing the right thing by making sure there's proper procurement in this country to defend this nation. It's not about putting money back in our pockets. It's about looking after them. And we all seen the history of what happens when you don't toe the party line. Okay? Something to think about.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Like I said, this podcast is also brought to you by the Ministry of Incontinence and Flatulence. Yes, incontinence and flatulence. It's a very important part of our government, and it has to be maintained. You know, just like the Ministry of the Status of Women, Diversity, and Youth that Marcy Ian looks after. Okay, I didn't realize the status of women in this country has been subjugated to such tyranny. When I just mentioned too that I have worked for women in my life that have done exceptional things and done wonderful things and raised good kids and overcome insurmountable odds. Interesting. More optics again, ladies and gentlemen. More bloody optics again. Now, I guess there's no more ministry of the middle class like there was the last election, right? Where Justin just put somebody in there to give it that aesthetic of thing. We're going to look after the middle class just fine. That's right. They annihilated the middle class with this pandemic and fines and tickets and taking people's jobs away in the name of safety. What a bloody con. Okay. This is also brought to you by the Ministry of Fellatio, by Mr. MP Auriel Fixation, right? Yes, he's French, but he's not from Quebec, but I'll let you decide that anyway, too. See, I think if we had two of those ministries in Ottawa right now, I think a lot more would probably get done. That might motivate some of these leaders to get in there and to really give the old thrusting try like they should. Right? Like I say, folks, it's all about merit. It's all about merit and getting things done to the best of their abilities. Now, Seamus O'Regan, of all people, shameful Seamus O'Regan, who has constantly had a different portfolio the past 6 years since he's, a little buddy there with Justin. They start docking back and forth and tickle this and tickle that, whatever rocks their world. But I guess he's now the Ministry of Labor. Ministry of Labor. He didn't do so well as the Minister of Veterans Affairs. Okay. Now, I remember watching him in Canada and back in 2006 and 2007. Okay. The time I was doing my workup training and just before I deployed on my tour in 2007. And I remember him sitting there in Canada AM with his other co-host, praising the efforts of our troops and praising the bravery and praising all these wonderful things. And you and I both know too, every time you hear a broadcaster praising the efforts of our military, okay, there's not necessarily enough truth to it. Okay. Now, at the time, I didn't really worry about it, but the more I think about it, the more I look at his inept abilities and his inactions and some of the stupid things he has said over the past few years. Okay. Meaning, one of the things he said, I think he put this on Twitter back in 2018, Canadians don't have the know-how to build a business from the ground up, right? Because there was that debate over immigration, And I'm not anti-immigration at all, ladies and gentlemen. I am all for immigration because I personally worked for immigrants in my youth. So I know the importance of immigration, okay? But it's not just immigrants that create businesses and create jobs in this country. There are also homegrown people whether they're from Owen Sound, Ontario, Ottawa, Ontario, Windsor, Manitoba, Steinbach, Victoria, Fort St. John, wherever, that grow businesses and provide jobs too. Okay. And Mr. Seamus O'Regan more or less disenfranchised every Canadian in regards to building their own businesses to defend their virtue of bringing in mass immigration, right? So shameful Seamus, I hope you do a better job as labor minister and understand what it takes for people to get up and go to work every fucking day to make their ends meet, to make things paid for. So little Billy can go to hockey, little Judy can go dancing, or what have you. Okay? I hope to God you bring some common sense. Well, then again, I'm asking a Liberal Party to bring common sense to anything. Well, that's like pulling teeth from a shark. Good luck, Chuck. Right? Anyhow, that's part of my assessment of the cabinet shuffle. And it shuffled all right. But has the deck been shuffled to benefit us, ladies and gentlemen? Has it? Has it really shuffled to help you and me out? Okay. Like I said, I'm working right now. I'm working for some great people. I'm working for some really great people, blue collar rooted. It's farm rooted. Okay. And they're long days and it's good pay. And I was more than willing to take the opportunity, right? Really good fucking pay and just all around decent people to work with and work for. Okay. I'm outside for part of the time. So yeah, I'm out working, hauling ass, driving a truck, driving in front of a loader. So I'm getting some good experience and coming back to the blue collar basics, just like I said during my campaign with the Veterans Coalition Party this past election, right? Now, what I don't understand too is that after watching this ceremonial shuffle and the virtue and the promise of a good job and the promise of integrity and doing the best we can in the name of Her Majesty in Canada, I don't see any genuine effort. Why? Well, for one, okay, they had the election on 20th September. Results were in 21st, 22nd. We saw who won. We saw who was doing the same thing over and over again. Now, a month later, they changed the cabinet. So they've had a month off to sort their shit out. So a month of working hard on a campaign and then a month off for the shuffling. Okay. And now they got the better part of a month off before they get back to work on the 22nd of November. And then what's going to happen after that too? They're going to sit and diddy-dally, tickle a taint here and there, slap and tickle here and there, bitch and moan about virtue and look for bigotry, look for sexism, look for racism again, right? And do nothing about the water issue as always. And not just the equivalent water issue, the standing water issues we have with our First Nations. Okay. And they're going to sit and tickle, laugh, and bitch and moan again as always. And then probably take another 6 weeks off for fucking Christmas. Right? All that for a base salary of $183,000 a year, ladies and gentlemen. Think about that too. Right? Like I say, ladies and gentlemen, if you like and hear what you see, please click like, subscribe, share this all around your social media platforms. You can also find me on Rumble, Brighton, and Wimkin as we speak too. Check me out there too. I'm also working on getting some other platforms as well. My Patreon account's up and running still, but I'll wait out for that before I start promoting that. But you, my listeners and viewers alike, use your best judgment. And if you do want to donate, please consider donating too. I also still have that t-shirt offer. I will draw on the 30th sometime if I do get some people there that are interested. But if you donate $5 a month at my patreon.podbean.com/Crusty Canuck, that's on my podcast page, the Podbean page. You donate $5 a month. Just send me your email that you're donating, and you're doing the $5 for the t-shirt. That's still up and running. I will make a draw this Saturday, I believe, is the 30th. So we'll go from there. And you can also enter to win a mug. Donate $10 a month, ladies and gentlemen, and I will draw your name the 30th of every month, too. So the t-shirt or the mug. Try that out at patreon.podbean.com/Crusty Canuck. Donate $5 or $10 and try to win yourself a great prize from the Customized Girl. The fine people at Customized Girl who make this kit for me. So please check that out if you can. It helps me and it helps you. And you get some nice Crusty Connect swagger too, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, going on with more of the podcast here, the Cabinet Shuffle. Now, I'm not seeing any great changes based on the 2015 or the 2019 portfolios they like to talk about. Okay. I'm not seeing the typical blue collar common sense. I'm not seeing the efforts. I'm not seeing anything but the same old virtue and the same old pipe dreams they keep piling on to everybody here. Okay. Next election, I'm assuming it's going to be called probably next couple of years. I'll be borderline hitting, that's part of my life where, am I going to run again or not? And I probably will run again, ladies and gentlemen. I probably will. I'm not going to diddly-daddly and screw around. I'm going to make an honest effort again too. And I got a few more signs. I'll have a few more bucks in the bank. The party is working on a different format too, getting a better website up and running too, so you can see individual profiles of candidates running in certain areas, Canada-wide too. So we hope to expand a bit. But yeah, I'll run in the next federal election for sure. But we'll see. That's a couple of years from now anyway. I doubt there'll be an election called. But when I look at the cabinet shuffle, I just look at more disingenuous leadership. And I wouldn't call it leadership. I'd call it tyranny at its finest, because they're promoting the parity thing again. And like I've said earlier, folks, I am not against any woman or any man pursuing any job in politics. Okay. I'm not judging anybody. I don't care what your color is. I don't care what your gender is. I don't care what your identity is. I don't care who you sleep with. As long as you don't hit people, take their stuff, we're good to go. That's simple. And as long as you don't lie and cheat people out of positions and pull the old race card or the oppression card, I think we'll do okay. But I'm seeing a lot of that with today's liberals. Okay. When Miss McKenna was in, she criticized about the misogynistic remarks and the hateful emails that these politicians were getting. And then they never took any responsibility for the things they said or the things they did. So it's pure narcissism at its finest, right? How else can you say it? It's not sexist to argue with a woman. It's not misogynistic to argue with a woman. I've argued with my wife numerous times, and she's never called me a misogynist. She's called me other things, but she's never called me a misogynist or a sexist, right? And to these ladies that are in power and they say and do something stupid and you call them on it, I think the responsible and the most adult thing to do would be to own it, right? Because to me, that's leadership. When you make a mistake and you admit to make a mistake, that's a good step ahead. So you don't make that mistake again. And it doesn't matter if you're 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 or 50, or in some cases, 60 years old. And that's life. But we're constantly being told the image of virtue and prosperity and progress and this, and when it's actually just being a regressive stepping stone. They're still going to tell us what to do with our money. They're still going to tell us how to live, how to walk, how to talk, how to walk and chew gum at the same time while picking our nose and giving ourselves a reach around, right? Now, there's also a lot of speculation out there, too, with more of the vaccines issues and more of the COVID issues, too. People are losing their jobs because they don't want to get the jab. People do get the jab, and yet they have to wait, and they have to show off their passports to restaurateurs and certain bars and clubs. And I'm not into that at all, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, if you want to get the jab, go get the jab. If you don't want to, that's fine, too. That's your choice. But you're finding more and more people coming out of the woodwork saying, hey, wait a minute here. This is very, very unconstitutional for the sake and the idea of safety. Safety, right? Safety is when you wear steel-toe boots where you have to, a hard hat, a breathing unit if you're working with chemicals or anything hazardous like that, okay? But we all know the story about masks and how they're phallic and how they're not really working. And like I said, they're very impersonal. Extremely impersonal. So extremely impersonal when it comes to meeting people, talking back and forth. And even during my campaign, I took mine off to speak. Because like I said to the audience, this is so impersonal. It's not. It's not real. You're not seeing me. You're not talking. I'm not. You're not seeing who I am. I want to represent you. So you got to see who I am. But we're not seeing that from people in Ottawa either, too, ladies and gentlemen. We're not. Right? We're seeing more virtues. Just more garbage, from these so-called elected officials that have our interest, our best interest in their minds when they have their own best interest. Now I'll summarize again too. This cabinet shuffle was nothing more but a virtue test, if anything, to make way for more slack and idle leadership, more slack and idle jurisdictions, more spending, right? And when I look at Miss Freeland, who trust me, I could not stand watching her interview without barfing, just the way she was talking to people. Well, you have to understand, you have to see, I'm a daughter of Alberta. Yeah. Yeah. You really care about Alberta, don't you? You really care about Alberta and the west of this country, right? It was the values that were taught to you in Western civilization, and you're turning around trying to annihilate that because you want to spend more Canadian money on other foreign interests. You'd rather bring in $12 barrels of oil from Saudi Arabia rather than actually look after Canadian oil, which I would say is probably the highest standard in the world when it comes to environmental protection and how we treat the workers in this industry. But you don't see it that way because oil's bad, right? So when you turn on the heat in your home, whether you're in Ottawa or wherever you live now, Miss Freeland, where do you think that power comes from? Is it all nuclear, all electrical? What runs those generators? What runs those turbines? What powers your limousine to and from work every day? What powers your vehicles to and from whatever holiday or exchange you're on? What powers your jets when you go off on holidays and negotiate in these summits because you're so smart and switched on, right? Yeah, that's right. Pixie farts and fairy dust. I forgot. And of course, cattle. Yeah, cattle are the bad bits too, right? You're from Alberta, and cattle's a big industry out here, but you don't see it that way, do you? Half of the caucus doesn't see it that way. So while you guys are sitting around eating steak and chewing the fat, doing your champagne socialism, people like myself, my wife, and my friends and family are struggling to make ends meet. You twit.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, back at the Crusty Canuck podcast. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. Like I say, please take advantage of my t-shirt draw. I will draw a lucky winner this Saturday on the 30th of October. And take advantage of the mug offer too. You donate $10 or more per month, you automatically get drawn to win a coffee mug, ladies and gentlemen. It comes in black too. And if you donate $5 per month, you're automatically entered to win a t-shirt, the basic Crusty Connect t-shirt with the saying on the back, humanity and merit wins the day, all that good stuff. So please get your entries in as soon as possible, and I will pick a winner this Saturday, and I will announce it on my community page on YouTube, and I will announce it on my Facebook page, respectively, too. So pay attention to the updates there, ladies and gentlemen. And carrying on more with the Cabinet Shuffle. It's just a shit show. What else can I say? I'll leave links in the description as per, so you can read and decide for yourself. But it's just, it's not substantial, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. I've lost a lot of trust. I've lost a lot of faith. I've lost a lot of respect for the leaders, right? I've lost a lot of respect. And there's a lot of rumblings going around too, where there's more snitch lines out there for people to tattle on each other for not getting the jab or wearing a mask or for not social distancing. So when it comes to provincial and municipal governments alike, they are also encouraging this kind of behavior. I think we can do better. If you see someone that's not wearing a certain mask or not social distancing, let them be. Let them be, because we've had a year and a half of this 2 weeks to flatten the curve mantra and mandates, and enough is enough. It's going to start with you and me. Like I say, I work outside off and on with my new job. Some moments I'm in a truck, some moments I'm in a front end loader. Other times I'm outside. So I'm hauling ass, and we don't need a mask. I need my toque, need my gloves, need a warm coat, and sensible work boots, of course. But I'm doing this thing, and we're not worried about the whole mantras and mandates. Right? A little more laid back persona, a little more, let's seize the day. Let's do what we can to find light in this manufactured darkness, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. And it starts with you, and it starts with me, and it starts with all of us. Okay. Do what we can to be good to each other to the best of our abilities. It's that simple. Okay. Now, because of this new job too, ladies and gentlemen, I will not be doing episodes twice a week or 3 a week. I'm going to try to do once a week because my schedule is out there. I do 5 days on, 2 days off, and pretty soon I'll be doing 10 days on and 4 days off. So the podcast will be sporadic, maybe one a week, maybe one every week and a half. We'll have to see, but stay tuned for updates on my Facebook page and my community page on YouTube as well, and other media formats via Rumble, Wimkin, and Brightian too, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're on Brightening, please take a look at my show there too, trying to get some more views up. But it starts with you, ladies and gentlemen, you, my wonderful listeners and audience out there. Without your support, this podcast would not be what it is today. So please keep trucking, give me a thumbs up, likes, comments, and please comment when you can and like when you can too. And share this around to all your social media platforms. Let us independent folk get our words out there too, so other people can think and have their own opinion based on what I say or what you say or what you do or what they do, all that stuff. Keep free thought going, freedom of expression going, freedom of the speech going in both of our countries, in beautiful Canada and the beautiful United States of America, and my American friends. And of course, in Britain and other Western European nations and other Western nations that just want to keep speaking their minds, going about their business, doing their thing, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing wrong with being socially liberal and fiscally conservative, basic libertarian principles. Don't hit people, take their stuff, and we shall overcome these insurmountable odds or these projected odds and this manufactured darkness. We are the light, ladies and gentlemen. I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 27th of October, 2021. Thank you once again to all the supporters out there, especially the people who have donated this past week. Thank you very much. I know you promised that I wouldn't mention your name, so I won't. And thanks for the lovely emails too. And thank you very much to Carrie, to Dee, to Tressa, and to Diane. My apologies for the modeling that you've done. Wearing some Crusty Canuck swagger. I'll be updating the Customized Girl page with your photos on there momentarily. But thank you once again, ladies, for your efforts and volunteering your time and effort to show off some Crusty Canuck swagger. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. And once again, I want to thank you, my audience, too, that have stuck around all this time. So please click like, subscribe, share this around, encourage your friends to listen and subscribe too. I need to get some more organic subscribers out there as well. And it starts with you, my listeners and viewers alike. So like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 27th of October. Halloween's coming, so make sure your kids are safe and warm. And the candy they get is not laced with bullshit. And let's just keep trucking along, do what we can to help each other out in these trying times. Let's question the status quo. Let's question the authorities. Let's go about our business and work hard, play hard, and look after our loved ones, right? But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, look after your loved ones. Do what you can to help each other out in these trying times. Spend some extra time volunteering, maybe. Give a few minutes to somebody elderly or anybody for that matter. Help your wife out, help your neighbor out, help your sons and daughters out, help your friends out. See someone struggling down the street, give them a hand, right? Just simple gestures like that, holding a door open, saying thank you, saying please, just kindness. Just try your best to be kind to the best of our abilities, folks, and we will persevere. Like I say, ladies and gentlemen, I have been Crusty Canuck. Thank you once again to everyone who has come out and listened to my speeches and rambles, and without you, this would not be possible. But like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, humanity merit wins the day. Take care, and I'll see you sometime next week. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Well, smack my ass and call me Judy. Well, smack my ass and call me Judy.